Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Medical Hub. If you like my video then please subscribe my channel and watch more videos. So now let's start. In this video I had given 10 MCQs of cardiovascular disorders. These MCQs are very important in upcoming exams of nursing and in medical field. So now let's see here. Question number first. A client with myocardial infarction has been transferred from a coronary care unit to a general medical unit with cardiac monitoring via telemetry. A nurse plans to allow for which of the following client activities? There are four options. A. Strict bed rest for 24 hours after transfer. B. Bathroom privilege and self-care activities. C. Add live activities because the client is monitored. D. Unsupervised hallway ambulation with distance under 200 feet. Right answer is B. Bathroom privilege and self-care activities. In every questions I had given a rationale for the understanding of answers. So see here. Rationale of this question is on transfer from the coronary care unit, the client is allowed self-care activities and bathroom privilege. Supervised in the hall for brief distance is encouraged with distance gradually increased. Firstly 50 feet, then 100 and then 200 feet. Next question, question number 2. Second, a client admitted to the hospital with chest pain and history of type 2 diabetes mellitus is scheduled for cardiac catheterization. Which of the following medication would need to be held for 48 hours before and after the procedure? Option A. Regular insulin. B. Glipizide or glucotrol. C. Repaglidine. D. Metformin or glucophage. Right answer is D. Metformin. Metformin is the medicine that would be need to withheld for the 48 hours before and after the procedure. So rationale of this question is why the answer is D. So metformin need to be withheld 48 hours before and after cardiac catheterization because of the injection of contrast medium during the procedure. If the contrast medium affects kidney functions with metformin in the system, the client would be at increased risk for lactic acidosis. So the medication in option 1A, B and C means regular insulin, glipizide, repaglidine do not need to withheld for 48 hours before and after cardiac catheterization. Right answer is D. Metformin is the medication or medicine that would need to be held for 48 hours before and after the procedure. Next question, question number 3. Most common cause of coronary artery diseases. Option A. Hyperglycemia. B. Stress. C. Atherosclerosis. D. Coronary artery spasm. Right answer is C. Atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is the most common cause of a coronary artery disease. Next question, question number 4. A client is in sinus bradycardia with heart rate of 45 beats per minute, complains of dizziness and has a blood pressure of 82 by 60 mm of Hg. Which of the following should the nurse anticipate will be prescribed? Option A. Defibrillate the client. B. Administer digoxin. C. Continue to monitor the client. D. Prepare for transcutaneous pacing. Right answer is D. Prepare for transcutaneous pacing. So rationale of this question is hypotension and dizziness are sign of decreased cardiac output. Because of in this question blood pressure is low means hypotension and dizziness are the signs of decreased cardiac output. So the transcutaneous pacing provides a temporary measures to increase the heart rate and thus perfusion in the symptomatic client. And further digoxin further decrease the client's heart rate. Defibrillation is used for treatment of pulseless ventricular tachycardia and ventricular fibrillation. So right answer is D. Prepare for transcutaneous spacing. Next question, question number 5. The nurse bilateral plus 2 edema in the lower extremities of the client with myocardial infarction who was admitted 2 days ago. The nurse would plan to do which of the following next? Option A. Orderly daily weight starting on the following morning. We review the intake and output record for the last 2 days. C. Request a sodium restriction of 1 gram per day from the physician. D. Change the time of diuretics administration from morning to evening. Right answer is B. Review the intake and output record for the last 2 days. So, rationale of this question is edema. Edema means the accumulation of excess fluid in the interstitial space can be measured by intake greater than output and by a sudden decrease in weight. So, diuretics should be given in the morning whenever Next question, question number 6. A nurse is conducting health history of a client with primary diagnosis of heart failure. Which of the following disorder reported by the client is unlikely to play a role in exacerbating the heart failure? Option A. Nutritional anemia. B. Atrial fibrillation. C. Peptic ulcer disease. D. Recent upper respiratory infection. Right answer is C. Peptic ulcer disease. Peptic ulcer disease cannot play the most important role in the diagnosis of heart failure. So, option C is correct. Peptic ulcer disease. Rationale of this question is heart failure is precipitated or exacerbated by physical or emotional stress, dysarrhythmia, infection, anemia, thyroid disorder, pregnancy, Paget's disease, and nutritional deficiency like thiamine deficiency and alcoholism, and pulmonary disease and hypovolemia. So these are the primary factors that can cause the heart failure. So peptic ulcer disease is the right answer of this question. Next question, question number 7. A client with myocardial infarction suddenly becomes tachycardic, shows sign of air hunger, and begins coughing frothy pink tinged sputum. Which of the following would the nurse anticipate when auscultating the client's breath sound? Option A. Steroid. B. Crackles. C. Scattered bronchi. D. Diminished breath sound. Right answer is B. Crackles. So, rationale of this question is pulmonary edema is characterized by extreme breathlessness, dyspnea, air hunger, and the production of frothy pink tinged sputum. So these are the symptoms of pulmonary edema. Means tachycardia, show sign of air hunger, and begins coughing, frothy pink tinged sputum. These are the sign of pulmonary edema. So production of frothy tinged. Auscultation of the lungs reveals the crackle sound. And rhonchi and diminished breath sounds are not associated with pulmonary edema. And steroidal is a crowning sound associated with laryngospasm or edema of the upper airway. So right answer is B. Crackle sound. Next question, question number 8. A client who has developed severe pulmonary edema would most likely exhibit which of the following? Option A. Mild anxiety. B. Slight anxiety. C. Extreme anxiety. And D. Moderate anxiety. Right answer is C. Extreme anxiety. So, a client who has developed severe pulmonary edema would most likely exhibit the extreme anxiety. Rationale is pulmonary edema causes the client to be extremely agitated and anxious. The client may complain of a sense of drowning, suffocation, or smoothing. Right answer is C. Extreme anxiety. So a client who has developed severe pulmonary edema would most likely exhibit the extreme anxiety. Next question, question number 9. A client with pulmonary edema has been on diuretic therapy. The client has an order for additional furosemide in the amount of 40 mg intravenous push. Knowing that the client will also be started on digoxin or lanaxin, the nurse should review which laboratory results. Option A, sodium level, B, digoxin level, C, creatinine level, and D, potassium level. Right answer is D, potassium level. So the nurse should review the potassium level of laboratory result. So rationale of this question is, the serum potassium level is measured in the client receiving digoxin and furosemide or diuretics. Heightened digoxin effect leading to digoxin toxicity can occur in the client with hypokalemia. So right answer is B, potassium level. When the patient is receiving the digoxin and furosemide, so on the time of the serum potassium level is measured in the client. Next question, question number 10. A client with myocardial infarction is going into cardiogenic shock because of the risk of myocardial ischemia. For which of the following should the nurse carefully assist the client? Option A, bradycardia, B, ventricular dysarrhythmia, C, rising diastolic blood pressure, D, falling central venous pressure. Right answer is B, ventricular dysarrhythmia. So nurses should carefully assess the client for the ventricular dysarrhythmia. Rationale of this question is, classic sign of cardiogenic shock is they relate to the question include low blood pressure and tachycardia. The central venous pressure would rise. The backward effects of the severe left ventricular failure become apparent. So dysarrhythmia commonly occurs as a result of decreased oxygenation and severe damage to greater than 40% of the myocardium. Right answer is B, ventricular dysarrhythmia.